On March 10, there's a new moon in Pisces making a little semi-sextile to Mars. This is a very quiet chart. There are very few aspects. It's like the calm before the storm. So what is the storm? Well, the storm is that there's a lunar eclipse at the end of March, that there is a solar eclipse at the beginning of April, that Mercury is going to go retrograde in April, and Jupiter, the planet of expansion, is going to conjunct Uranus, the planet of sudden surprises. That's the storm. So this is the calm before the storm. What does that mean for you? That's what we're going to talk about. Hi everyone, I'm Donna Stellhorn, your practical astrologer, and today we are talking about the new moon. It's at 20 degrees of Pisces. We're going to do a short overview and then we're going to go sign by sign. I often talk about astrology as a GPS, like a kind of radar to tell us what's ahead on our path of life. And this gives us an opportunity to make some adjustment. Now the GPS is beeping. It is telling us that there's something ahead. And I'm calling this a storm. But you know that when you're using a GPS, sometimes it says, there's traffic ahead or there's, construction or something like that. And you get there and you don't see anything. So it's possible that some of you are going to sail right through this and not notice it. And others, you are going to be in the traffic or get rerouted because of construction or be in the storm. Now, I know storms sound scary, but we've all been through many storms. And I want to tell you that you've been through bigger storms than this. So what the benefit is of course, going through storms is that when we come out, we're better sailors, that we are better at navigating things. We have more skills, we have more experience. And so it's okay that storms come. I mean, we don't have a choice because storms do happen. But as this one comes up, recognize, one, you've been through bigger storms, and two, there's a purpose in all of this, and that is to help you gain experience, skills, and to become a better sailor. So this particular new moon, which is in Pisces, which is amazing that this is the sign that we get before the storm, because Pisces is very much about learning what is in your control, what's outside of your control, and letting the universe handle things and going with the flow. And it's making a little semi-sextile to Mars. And I say it's little because it's considered a minor aspect. And it's an aspect that I've talked about on this channel before. It's kind of like a little rock in your shoe. So a little rock in your shoe isn't a big deal, but if you don't stop and take the rock out of your shoe after a 2-mile or 10-mile hike, you're completely crippled. You are incapacitated. But, when you sense the rock in your shoe, you stop and you take out the rock and things are better. And so a semi-sextile is often about dealing with little details. And this is with Mars, and Mars is about taking action. So this is literally taking action on the small details. Sometimes we overlook the semi-sextile or the small little details that we need to do because we want to get things done in one big fell swoop. Or, as I hear a lot of people, they say, if I can just get a block of time, then I can work on this. Or, if things in the world would stop pushing at me, I could finish this. But the semi-sextile, especially connected to Mars, is about putting in daily practices that incrementally make things better. And so that's the focus for this time, is to look at what your daily practices are, because those are the little bricks that are building whatever monument you are for your life. And so are you building something that can withstand storms? That's the question. Or are you building a house of straw? So, of course, recently there was the year of the wood dragon, and next year is going to be the year of the wood snake. And it's very interesting when we look at these two animals in the Chinese zodiac because their appearance is this kind of undulating, moving sort of energy. And so it reminds us that what we need to do in these times of storms and, all the things that are going on is to remain flexible and versatile and adaptable. And so this is where the details come in, is like, what are you doing in your life that helps you become flexible, that helps you be less rigid, that allows you to deal with circumstances as they come up. And that's everything, from having some extra cat food in the cupboard, so just in case the kitty needs something, or to have a little emergency fund, or to have a contact list of friends, to have something as a backup. Okay, in this video, we are doing tropical Western astrology. It's a good idea to look at your rising sign, also called your ascending sign, to see what's really going on. If you don't know your rising sign, I can send you a copy of your chart. There's a link in the description. If you would like to know more about what's ahead for you in 2024, I do readings. There's a link in the description. I also have a video course called Finding the Hidden Money in Your Chart. This is a Western astrology course, and it is for those of you who want to go a little bit more in depth into your chart and to focus on finding money. And so there's a lot of information in it. In fact, there's more than 50 videos and 24 PDFs. There's a lot there to help guide you through, what does it mean to have the sun in the house of money, or to have Jupiter there, or to have Saturn there, or what if you have no planets in your money houses? So this course is available now at a really low price, and there's a link in the description. Okay, let's go sign by sign. Okay, Aries, this storm is primarily centered around relationships and connections with others for you. And this is a local storm. So this is a storm in your neighborhood. And so it's very important that you look at it as a learning opportunity to, a way to make things better in your life. And now this does mean that some doors could close and other doors are going to open. It also means that this new moon is about getting spiritually centered and finding a daily spiritual practice so that you can gather strength and basically make whatever fortifications necessary because a storm is coming. Now, there's no reason for you to be nervous. You've experienced many storms in your life, many much larger than this. But there is a storm on the horizon, and so it's a very good idea to take precautions. So you might ask yourself, if there were changes in my relationship, if there was changes in a business partnership, if there were changes in, what I could expect from somebody, what do I need to get through that change? And you might say to yourself, okay, well, I don't want it to change, so therefore I'll take massive action to shore it up, and that would be perfect. Or you might say to yourself, it's okay if it changes, I will be flexible and versatile, and I will find something else to do. Now, when it comes to love relationships, specifically new love, Mars is making a semi-sextile to the sun, and it's an exact semi-sextile. And so this is saying if you are looking for love, one of the things that you need to look at is the details of what you're doing. And that is that maybe you have the bigger picture of who it is you're looking for and how to find a person through online dating or going out and being social. But maybe it's the little details of what's the first question that you ask, or how do you get to the point where you're comfortable enough to set up that first date? Or how can you meet more people if you're not meeting enough people to find the person you want to connect with? Now, when it comes to existing love relationships, there's no aspect going on between Mars and Venus. And as I said in the opening, there's not a lot of aspects in this chart. And that means that when there's no aspect, it's very hard to, solve a problem or try to work on something because your attention is elsewhere. So, and that's okay. Allow your attention to be elsewhere. If they're doing an aspect and they want to work on the relationship, then make the effort. But if both of you are in a place where, you're not making that connection, then you just go on as you've been doing. Now, when it comes to your money, you're pulling money from Venus, which happens to be the last planet in this whole chart. And that means that you have to get all of your ducks in a row before you take action. And so look for a duck that's not in the row, find out what still needs to be done and focus on getting everything lined up. And then you're ready to, launch or to, get things started as we get towards the full moon. Now, when it comes to money from business or from investments, Venus is making an out of sign semi-sextile to Pluto. So we've got that semi-sextile energy that says do the details, but the out of sign means it's not as obvious. So it's not necessarily now the rock in your shoe. Maybe it's a branch that you could trip over and that people around you could trip over. So you're going to pick up that branch, even though you saw it, even though you weren't going to trip, and you get it out of the way. And so it is taking care of things that maybe they're a little less directly related to you, or you already spotted it, you know how to avoid it, but you're going to take it out of the way anyway. I was so focused on the semi-sextile that I forgot to tell you about the money part. So, and how that affects your money is there may be some small things that you need to do, like a little box you need to check that's, reinvest your dividends, or that stops you from doing some automatic investment that you no longer want to do. There's something small, it may be something more universal, and you may have to look for it. So, but look through your finances now. I think you can spot what it is and get that taken care of. Now, when it comes to money derived from career, so that would be like a paycheck, you have a really interesting chart here, because even though Venus is not making an aspect with Uranus, Venus is in a money house, Uranus is in a money house, Venus is in Aquarius, which is ruled by Uranus, and Uranus is in Taurus, which is ruled by Venus. So they are in what we call mutual reception. So this makes this one of the strongest aspects that you have had for getting more money in your job than you've had in months. So it's a very important, if you want to get a raise, if you want to negotiate for a higher salary in a new job, really put the effort in now to plant the seeds. You might not get everything completed, but get the conversation started. Tell your boss you want to sit down and talk about your career trajectory. I always have trouble saying that. Career trajectory, so that you can be in line for the next promotion, or that you're on their mind, and so that they're thinking about how they can get you more money. Okay, Taurus, this oncoming storm is going to be centered in your areas of work and health and daily routines. And so it's very much about, taking care of your physical self and getting the things done that you need to get done. And so where you're doing this new moon energy is in this house of friends and community and the future and thinking long term. And so this is first defining what you want in the future and who you want to be in the future and how you want to feel in the future. And then you can take very small steps on a daily basis to manifest that. Or you're going to find friends and a community to support you in your goals for the future, so that that they're helping you stick with the changes that you're making on a daily basis. Now, when it comes to love relationships, specifically new love, Mercury is making a semi-sextile to Venus, and it's out of sign. And so we've just spent a lot of time talking about what a semi-sextile is. When it's out of sign, it's just not as obvious. And so when we do that in a love situation, that is, like in the movies where the best friend is in love with the main character, but the main character doesn't see it until the very end, and then, happy ever after. That's an out of sign. Like that was the last place the person was looking, and it was right beside them. So look at, maybe the people around you, but also maybe there are opportunities to meet new people that you weren't even considering. Maybe they're in your neighborhood. Maybe they're part of a local community that you've been thinking about joining, or you are a member of, but you don't go to the meetings. So thinking in those types of terms to find new love. And then when it comes to existing love relationships, Venus is making an out of sign semi-sextile to Pluto. So again, we have that same sort of energy, and that is that the two of you are probably getting along okay, but there's occasional little hiccups. But the issue that you think it is actually not. There's something that's unrelated or something less easy to find. And so, maybe you are upset with your partner because they're not loading the dishwasher the way you like, but they may have some very specific reason why they are loading it that way, and you haven't asked and they haven't said. And, so it's something that when you hear it, you go, oh, yeah, that does make sense. Okay, let's load the dishwasher this way. Or, vice versa. Maybe you have this deep reason, or like you read a study that this saves water or cleans better. But it's something that the two of you may not spot right away. But if you can talk about it, you can strengthen the relationship, you can clear this problem, and things could get a lot better. Now, when it comes to your money, you're pulling money from Mercury, which is at 0 degrees of Aries. And 0 degrees of Aries is a starting point. It is like the biggest of all starting points. And so it says start something new, brand new. And so oftentimes, we're trying to restart an old idea, or we've been working on something for a long time and now we think we're going to start. But this says just start something new. So look through your list of ideas and all of that and get the brand new thing started. Now, when it comes to money from business or from investments, Mercury's making a semi-square to Jupiter. And now a semi-square is a somewhat irritating aspect that requires you to take action, but there's a lot of friction involved. And so how this could manifest is this can give you this idea that you should be confident where it's actually not a good idea to be confident. Like overconfidence is not wise at this time. And so that can cause you to think that something's going to go well when actually you could have seen how there are some weaknesses in your decision making or in the process or in what the other person is promising, and you could get out of the way of a problem, but you're overconfident. And so ask yourself where you're confident and then check to make sure you're not overconfident at this time. Now, when it comes to money from your job, and so that would be like a paycheck, Mercury is making an out-of-sign conjunction to Neptune, and you have that. Plus, you have Saturn, Sun, Moon, Neptune in that house. So you have the new moon in that house. You have the ruler in that house. Like everything is very, very strong towards getting more money in your job. Now, it is out of sign, so it's possible that there are some changes going on and that maybe this means moving into a different position. You have a lot of job change energy that's possible. That means an opportunity to change jobs and get a better title and to get more money. This is also that maybe you have to take on some different duties, or that you have to change departments or something like that. But the energy is quite interesting and quite strong right now for at least getting on track to get more money very soon. Okay, Gemini, this oncoming storm is going to be primarily centered around friendships and creativity, how you're relating with your children, or how you're bringing romance into your life, how you are expressing yourself and what you're thinking about the future. And this prep time that we're doing right now, this new moon, is actually centered in your house of career. And also reputation, and that might be part of it. So this is about working on your career, and maybe this is about getting your career solid so that then you have time to work on the creativity and the kids' part. But it is also maybe to look at your reputation and see how you're putting yourself out in the world, because that brings you more opportunities, and then that supports your friends and your kids and your future, etc. So I think that there is definitely some needed attention on your career, but the bigger attention is going to be, what do you want to do in the future? What do you want to do, 2 years from now, 5 years from now? Now, when it comes to love relationships, specifically new love, Mercury is making an out-of-sign semi-sextile to Venus. So we talked about what the semi-sextile was, that little rock in the shoe, but an out-of-sign aspect means it's not quite as obvious. And that is, like you feel the rock in your shoe and you take off the shoe, but there's no rock. And then you put your shoe back on, you walk a little bit, you still feel the rock. And so then you stop, you take off the shoe, and then you take off your sock and you go, oh, there's the rock. So it is something where you have to dig a little deeper to find out what the problem is. And so if you're looking for love and you're not finding something, perhaps it is about stopping now and digging a little deeper to figure out why you are not meeting this person. And oftentimes it is you're not meeting enough people, or that you are adopting an attitude of this is never going to work, or you are still very connected to someone from your past, and so you're giving off a vibe that you're not even available. So, or you are actually kind of nervous about getting into a relationship, so you're attracting a lot of interested people, but they are not available in some way. So all of these are like little hidden rocks that you have to get out of your shoe. Now, when it comes to existing love relationships, Mercury is making a semi-square to Jupiter. Now, a semi-square is an aspect kind of like a square where you have to take some sort of action to help the situation, but the semi-square is kind of like dragging something that's metal on something that's also metal, so it makes a really screechy sound. Like there's friction here. It's not easy to do it. And so this may be something where the two of you need to talk about something, but you're already feeling a little wounded in this area. And just the slightest little touch is like touching a bruise, and it's just too painful. And so, and this aspect also has a little bit of an overconfidence factor where you can go in with too much force when there is a bruise. And so because it's an aspect, of course, you can work with the energy. Because it's an aspect that is related to a square, you must work with the energy. But what's necessary is to go in gently. If you're dragging something metal across a metal floor, you want to find something to cushion it so that there's less friction. Look for how you can make less friction, and then you can solve this problem. Now, when it comes to your money, you're pulling money from the moon that is elevated in your chart. It's very strong for promoting yourself, for finding new customers, finding new clients, to expand your brand, and it's making that semi-sextile to Mars in your house of education. Also, legal matters, that would be like setting up your business structure, or getting your bank account or your merchant services in place and things like that. So it's about getting those details. So, like you're ready to start the business. Well, how can the person pay you? What's the easiest frictionless way for them to pay you? How can they find you? Can you is there a website, or is there a landing page somewhere? So these are the little things to be doing and focused on to get your money happening. Now, when it comes to money from business and from investments, even though the moon's not making an aspect with Saturn, they are both in the same sign. So there is some harmony happening. It is that it may not be all of the profit taking this time. It's like things are flowing at work or in your business as well as in your investments, but it's not quite time to take the profits. People are starting to get interested. They're maybe placing orders, but they haven't paid yet. It's things like that. So the money is coming. It's just not quite here yet. Now, when it comes to money from your career, so that would be like a paycheck, your chart is outstanding right now. Mercury is, the moon is making a semi-sextile to Mars, but Mercury is in that house. That's really good. Mercury is the ruler of Gemini. You have a very strong career house. You have Mercury, North Node, and Chiron in that house of money derived from career. So it's all lit up to have you make more money in your job. It's going to, of course, require that semi-sextile, take care of the details. That is, make the meeting with your boss, show up with a list of things that you have done, your accomplishments, give the pitch. This is why I need more money. This is why I want more money. And so, but you have really good aspects during this time. So if you are looking for more money, I think you can get it. Okay, Cancer, this oncoming storm is going to be centered in your areas of career and home and family. And so that can mean that there may be job changes or changes at home, or maybe you're thinking about moving. This could be that you want to expand your business or take your business a different direction and things like that. We'll be talking in more detail about that as we get closer. Now, you are doing this new moon in your area of beliefs and personal philosophy. And so some of that is about how you believe things work in your world. So do you feel like the universe is co-creating with you, that if as you move forward, the universe brings opportunities and opens doors and gives you challenges and lessons along the way? Or do you believe that you're operating alone in the universe and that everything is about just luck and, a flip of the coin? Additionally, are you filling your mind with criticisms or negative thoughts, which can set your reticular activating system in your brain on this mode of seeing it everywhere and looking for evidence that that is true? So if you're focused on the negativity and you're then looking and searching for, okay, now I believe that I'm not good enough, and so therefore, and this person, they gave me that look, and then that person said, I shouldn't have worn this shirt, and like you're looking for evidence for something you don't even want to have happen or be. And so shifting your personal philosophy, looking at your belief system and challenging it, is what you do to prepare for the oncoming storm. Now, when it comes to love relationships, specifically new love, the moon is not making an aspect with Pluto, but it is making a semi-sextile to Mars. So that means that there is an opportunity. It's like the semi-sextile stuff I've been talking about. It's about following the details. And so this can mean that this is something that is obvious to maybe your friends and family that you need to do to find new love. Maybe it's just getting out of the house. Like you maybe say, I really want a love relationship, and yet you're meeting less than one new person a week. That's not going to help you find new love. So this right now, you've got so much elevated in your chart. I really think that if you just go out and do some social things, you can walk to the center of the room and take a seat. People are going to come to you at this point, and then you can meet new people and connect with someone. Now, when it comes to existing love relationships, the moon is not making an aspect with Saturn, and so they are in the same sign. So philosophically, you guys are on the same page, or you're working on the same thing, or learning and growing in the same area. So, and that might mean that if you are, dealing with negative thoughts or self-criticism, maybe they are too, and you can help each other. So, but there's mostly a focus on working on yourself as an individual and then dealing with relationship stuff later. Now, when it comes to your money, you're pulling money from the sun, which is making that semi-sextile to Mars. So the sun is there shining bright in this area of publicity and marketing and putting the word out. And the semi-sextile is connected to resources. And so that is to go out into the world and get those resources that you need. And that might mean just like ideas for your videos, ways to contact people, how to hone your pitch, things like that can bring you so much faster results, better results. The amount of good information out there is just, it's stupendous. It blows my mind how there's so many generous people out there really giving of their time and telling all of the secrets to do this. And so it's just a matter of, getting the information and then applying it. That's it. It's as simple as that. And that is the energy that you're doing, is that you can find one little tip, and that's just a game changer for you. Now, when it comes to money from business or investments, the sun's making a sextile to Uranus. You're one of the few people who are doing a good aspect in this area, so you want to grab it. Sextile is an opportunity to have something happen. You need to take some sort of action to manifest it. And that means, you call up the person and say, do you want to buy this? Or you talk to your broker, or you look through the different investments and you see, what should I sell? What should I reallocate, etc. So you're doing some really good energy this time. You're one of the few people who are, so you want to capitalize on that. Now, when it comes to money derived from career, so that would be like a paycheck, the sun's not making an aspect with Venus. You do have a lot elevated in your chart. So it's possible that you are in the process of negotiating for something for a new position. And so, but it's easier right now for you to get perks and more vacation time or a work at home opportunity or things like that, rather than getting actual cash. So if you are in negotiations for a raise or something, don't overlook the perks and the benefits. That can be the real benefit that you get in this process. Okay, Leo, the oncoming storm, the one that's coming, is hitting your areas of education and legal matters. And legal matters can be lawsuits and things like that, but it can also be contracts. It can be getting certified or passing a test to be licensed to do something. This also is going to hit in the area of neighbors and siblings and your vehicle. And so something going on in the neighborhood, maybe changing vehicles or dealing with something that has to do with a sibling. And then this particular new moon is lighting up your area of power and control. And so it is about looking at where you're trying to over control things, or where you could at least ease up a little bit and maybe allow somebody else to do something for you, so that you don't have to do everything yourself, but also where you're not taking something that's truly your power and giving it away. So it is about resources, of course, and so you do have some new resources coming in, some opportunities. Maybe these are people to work with. And then, but deciding, like sometimes I see people who they just want to turn something over to someone, and then they get upset when that person doesn't love that thing or take the responsibility of that thing. And it makes sense, because they're just hired to do that. This is your baby. So you're going to take care of your baby, and then you can find someone maybe to watch the baby for a little bit, but if it's your baby, you have the ultimate responsibility. And so this is where the new moon is, to look for opportunities in this area. But again, don't try to turn over everything to that person, because that's not going to help you in the long run. It's that you give them duties and responsibilities, but slowly. Now, when it comes to love relationships, specifically new love, the sun's not making an aspect with Jupiter. It's interesting because this new moon is in the house of intimacy. So I think you could find someone where you have a great physical connection, and you might get physical very, very quickly, but it may not be a long-term relationship. And so if that's what you're looking for, then you want to wait till outside this 2-week period. Now, when it comes to existing love relationships, the sun's making a sextile to Uranus, which is one of the few good aspects in this whole chart. So you and your partner have an opportunity to really come together and be in harmony, to have a really good time, to be in sync. It is a sextile. A sextile means that some action needs to be taken, but when you do come together, things can really work. Now, when it comes to your money, you're pulling money from Mercury, which is at 0 degrees of Aries. That is the point, the ultimate point of new beginnings. And this is a new moon, so there is seriously a new beginning happening. Now, this may mean, because of the position Mercury's in, that there has been a change of regulations. Maybe something that you wanted to do is now legal and easy to do, or maybe it's now not legal, or maybe there were some other restrictions on it. Maybe there were a lot of regulations about it and those are gone. Maybe there are some new regulations about it. So there's something very new about it. Now, it's also possible that it's a brand new idea, and this is a time where you're doing your business plan and maybe looking at opportunities for getting resources because that's where the new moon is. So that would be funding or people to come in and help you manage the business, etc. So this is really good energy, but you're looking for something that's brand new. Now, when it comes to money from business or from investments, the energy is very good. Mercury is making an out of sign conjunction with Neptune. Neptune's in the money house, the moon's in the money house. So you have real opportunities here. The out of sign part means it's not so obvious. So you will have to look a little bit. That means that it's not the customer you're expecting who's going to buy, it's somebody else. Or the customer you're expecting to buys something different. So that is, they buy one of your other offerings. And it's the same thing when you're looking at your investments. It might be something that you had just set a while ago and forgotten about that suddenly surges forward. So look for the things that are a little bit out of the way, out of your normal view. That's what could really make you money. Now, when it comes to money derived from career, so that's like a paycheck, that's all ruled by that Mercury at the 0 Aries point. So there's something brand new going on there. I don't know if that means that your company has been bought or has bought another company. Maybe you are starting a new job. Maybe there is some disruption in your industry where some piece of technology has come in and, is going to really inject your company with a lot of energy or suck energy out of your company, but there's something brand new going on. And so you want to keep your eyes open for what that is, because that means opportunities for you to go in different directions and to make more money. Okay, Virgo, this oncoming storm is going to affect your finances, your investments, insurance, also your sense of deserving, what you own. And, there's a couple of ways, like if you are the person who fixes people's roofs, then a storm for you means a surge of business, opportunities galore. So if you are in the paper umbrella business, a storm is not a good thing. So then you put away all of your stuff and you don't sell as much because nobody needs a paper umbrella during a hailstorm. So this is looking at where your money comes from and how you're handling your money and what your investments are in, etc., so that you can see if you're going to be flexible and adaptable during a storm. Now, the new moon is sitting in your house of relationships, partnerships, collaborations. And so that is that you now have access to new people to help you, get ready for this storm. And so that can mean that you go with your partner and say, all right, are we ready in case things change in ways for us financially? And that can be, like if our income got interrupted, but also what if we suddenly had twice as many customers? Well, what if we had twice as much business? How do we handle that? So getting with your partner, but also, talking to business partners, mentors, teachers, and people you want to collaborate with. So you may find some amazing person who wants to collaborate with you, an influencer or someone like that, and that's what gives your business this big boost. And so the storm is, like I said, that suddenly you're the roofer and you have a ton of roofs that you can now repair. Now, when it comes to love relationships, specifically new love, Mercury's not making an aspect with Saturn. You have a good, strong relationship house here, but this is more about, there's a little bit of a conflict. First of all, Mercury, which rules Virgo, is at 0 Aries, which means you want something brand new. You want to start over. You want a reset button. But the energy for new love is not that strong. And so that is that you keep connecting with people you've already met. You keep connecting with people you already know. And that's hard to reset because it's so easy to fall back into an old pattern. So that's why you're a little bit at cross purposes here. And so you could go to the person, maybe you've gone out with them a couple of times, it's just never clicked, and said, let's give it one more try, but do it differently. Do something new in that relationship. So, or you wait outside this 2-week period and this energy will line up better. Now, when it comes to existing love relationships, Mercury's making an out of sign conjunction with Neptune. Neptune's in a relationship house, the new moon's in a relationship house. There's very strong energy for relationships. There is, though, again, what I was saying in the new love section is Mercury is at 0 degrees of Aries, and that means that you do want something brand new. And it's interesting because it's in the house of intimacy. And so that may be that behind closed doors, you just want to do something different. And that's something to discuss with your partner. But you do have harmony here where you could come together. It's out of sign. So it's maybe when you make the suggestion, they're like, what? I never would have thought that you'd want to do that. But you can move forward on something if you suggest it, if you talk it out. It just may be a surprise to your partner. Now, when it comes to your money, you're pulling money from Venus, which is in your house of work and routines, and it's also the last planet. It's the highest degree planet, and that means that you need to look around and see if everything is done, and then you launch. Like, it is like getting the last little bits done. Like maybe there's still a web page that's not done, or your terms and conditions aren't on your web page, or that you have the plan for your investments, but you just need to move the money into the broker account, or there's something where you just have to do the last little bits to get this going. Now, when it comes to money from business or from investments, Venus is not making an aspect with Mars. And so there's a lot of activity going on in and around this house. So I do think that there's stuff going on. I just think that the profits that you're getting are coming outside the 2-week period. So that means you're maybe making a push, you're meeting a lot of people, connecting to potential customers and clients, and they're getting around to ordering. They haven't quite ordered yet, or if they've ordered, they haven't quite paid yet. So the money is coming, but it's probably outside this 2-week period. Now, when it comes to money from career, so that would be like a paycheck, the moon's not making an aspect with Venus. Venus is the last planet. It is sitting in your house of work. And so I think what's going on here is you're either having trouble connecting with the right person to say, can I have a raise? Or you have to finish a project or something. And when you get that done, then you'll say, look what I've accomplished. Please give me more money. So it's just for most of this, it just feels like the timing's not quite here yet. Maybe it's coming right outside this 2-week period. Maybe it's coming in a month, but it's just not quite here yet. Okay, Libra, this oncoming storm that we're talking about today it's local for you. That means that this is very much about you changing and changing your relationships, changing how you present yourself in the world, changing how you feel about connections that you have. And so you are directly affected by this storm. And so when that happens, it means that some doors in your life are going to be closing and other doors are going to be opening. Again, nothing to be scared about. You've been through bigger storms than this. But this is a time where the universe is kind of taking you by the hand and doing a little course correction in your life. And so if you think to yourself, like, well, what's the obvious thing? Like maybe it's taking better care of yourself physically, or maybe it's going out and meeting better connections, making better connections, deepening relationships and friendships, or just being more social in general. Like if there's something where you go, I know that I should be doing that, that's what the universe is going to give you a little push about. Now, the new moon energy that you're doing for the next 2 weeks is in this area of daily habits, health, and routines. It's like, what are you doing on a daily basis to support you on the approaching storm? And so are you making time in your schedule where you could connect with people? Are you taking the time to treat your body right, to do some exercise, to get nutrition in so that your physical self is supported? Are you getting enough sleep? Are you getting too stressed about, what's going on halfway around the world where, if you look at your own surroundings, you go, oh, actually things are okay, So this is, it's not about being perfect all the time. This is just the incremental steps. And if you can say, what can I do in the next 5 minutes that really nurture me and take care of me in a physical sense, in a health sense, or in the sense of your work, then you're on the right track. Now, when it comes to love relationships, specifically new love, even though Venus is not making an aspect with Uranus, you have a really unique situation going on here. You see, Venus is in Aquarius, and Aquarius is ruled by Uranus. Uranus is in Taurus, and that's ruled by Venus. And so this is what we call mutual reception. Not to mention that Venus is in the house of romance and Uranus is in the house of intimacy. So this is really an extraordinary time for you to meet someone for a love relationship. Now, the difficulty is that you have Mercury, which is at a 0 Aries point, which is the new beginning, the mother of all new beginnings, in your house of relationships. And so that means you have to really meet new people, and maybe you have to meet them in a new way. And so that is like breaking out of the routine so you can meet new people. And meet a lot of them, meet many new people. And that's what's going to help you get into a love relationship. I think sometimes we get this idea that, we're supposed to meet half a dozen people and find the love of our life. And we're in a world of 8 billion people. That doesn't make sense, right? So go out and meet a lot of people so that you can then find all of these different choices, and therefore you will find in and amongst that love. Now, when it comes to existing love relationships, Venus is not making an aspect with Mars, but they are both in the same sign, and they're in the house of romance and fun. So this says, have some fun together. That's what helps this relationship. And, again, that Mercury at the 0 Aries point that I was just talking about, that's in the house of relationships. So do something new, do something fun, do something that neither of you are very familiar with, so that you're both learning it together, and that can be really fun, and that can bring the two of you closer together. Now, when it comes to your money, you're pulling money from that Pluto, which is now in Aquarius, as well as Mars, which is making a semi-sextile to that new moon. And so this is very much about what are the small little details to do to get money flowing. Now, Mars is in the house of risk taking. That means that you want to try to step outside your comfort zone. And sometimes when we think about risk taking, we think of, like jumping out of the airplane type of risk taking. But sometimes it is something as small as calling up somebody you know and asking if they can refer you. I mean, maybe it is just doing your elevator pitch, literally in an elevator with somebody. You got 30 seconds, tell them what you do. So it's sometimes just as simple as that, because this is a semi-sextile. It's not a big leap. It is just a step outside your comfort zone, and that's what brings you more money. Now, when it comes to money from business or from investments, you do show that you're making a little bit more than usual. Venus is making a semi-sextile to Pluto, but it's out of sign. So therefore, you are stepping out of your norm, and that's what brings you some extra profits. And so maybe that is, like going and talking about your business, or you, instead of letting salespeople handle your business, you get on the phone and you do some sales or something like that. So there is something that you can do, but it's a little bit out of what you normally do, and that's what brings you more money. Now, when it comes to money derived from career, so that would be like a paycheck, even though the sun's not making an aspect with Pluto, it is making that exact semi-sextile with Mars. So this is an opportunity for you to talk to your supervisor and say, I want more money. Your supervisor is likely to say, this is what you need to do, because it's a semi-sextile and it's in your house of work and routines, and this is all the things you need to do, and then we can get you more money. So now you are going to have this aspect be a stronger one and better lined up in a couple of months. I didn't map it out, but it's coming. It's on approach. And so you may want to wait until that time and then do your ask, because right now it's a semi-sextile. And so they are going to say, well, yes, I will give you more money, but here's what you have to do to get it. Okay, Scorpio, this oncoming storm, the one that's approaching, is going to be really affecting your daily routines, how you take care of your body, how you deal with sleep and meditation and your connection with the universe, as well as, if you are kind of trapped by addictive behaviors, and there's so many things that we can get addicted to, shopping and watching TV and all of these other things that we don't necessarily so much say, oh, this is an addiction. And the universe is coming in with this storm to give you a little course correction. Now, this new moon is actually lighting up your area of personal expression, where you're willing to take risks. What do you do to have fun? How do you express who you truly are? And so one of the things that you can do that prepares you for the storm is to define who you are. They say that if you say to yourself, okay, I'm going to run every day, you may or may not, but if you define yourself as a runner, runners automatically run every day. So therefore you don't even think about it. It's just your identity. And so that's the energy that we're doing here, is to say, what is your identity, and shifting your identity to support your health, your work, your daily routines, as well as your spiritual journey. When you do that, then you are in line with this eclipse energy that's coming up, and then you ride the wave rather than getting hit by the wave. Now, when it comes to love relationships, specifically new love, Pluto is making an out-of-sign sextile to Neptune. Neptune is still in your house of romance. Plus, you have some good energy just in general in romance because the new moon is there. So this is a really good time to meet someone for a love relationship. So get out into the world. The biggest challenge, I would say, is you only have 2 planets above the horizon. You're still a little bit hidden. So you might think that you're out in the world, but maybe you're still kind of hanging out in the corners or by the punch bowl. It's time to be in the center of the room and let people come to you. Now, when it comes to existing love relationships, Venus is making an out-of-sign semi-sextile to Pluto. So the semi-sextile we've talked about a bunch because, that it was the beginning and several other things that we've talked about in this video. So, and that is just get the rock out of your shoe. And when it comes to a relationship, there's some point of irritation that it's not a problem right now, but it could become one. But this is an out of sign semi-sextile, and that means the connections aren't as obvious. So in that case, you might be kind of feel friction, like, oh, you're not doing the laundry right or something like that. But this is actually related to something bigger or deeper or completely different. Like, if you don't do the laundry right, you're not really loving me, etc. And you might not be able to follow that rabbit path to where it leads. So you have to talk about it. You have to unravel it with them. And they may be as surprised as you are, like, oh, I wasn't really thinking that those two things were connected, but they were. Basically, the bottom line is more communication and taking the risk this time to say, okay, what's really going on behind the scenes here? What's really going on within you when I do this or say this? Now, when it comes to your money, you're pulling money from Jupiter, which is moving closer and closer to this conjunction with Uranus. This is a big deal. This is something that happens, and I haven't mapped it out, but it's definitely more than every 12 years. So it's something that's pretty rare. And it's happening in this area of connections, influencers, collaborations, business partners. So this is your opportunity to have an extraordinary connection, either with a person who wants to connect you with every person they've ever met, or that they have, a bunch of connections themselves and they like what you're doing and they're going to lift you up. So this is your time to really be out there in the world and meet new people, because when you do, somebody could take you by the hand and open up a whole world for you. So this is the approaching aspect. This aspect's going to happen in, I don't know when you're watching this video. It's going to happen around the end of April. I think it's the exact on the 20th and 21st. So but the energy, you're in the energy now, it's getting closer and closer, And the energy will continue after that hit for a couple of weeks. So you're going to be feeling this for a while, but the more you can capitalize on it, the better. Now, when it comes to money from business or from investments, Jupiter is making a semi-square to Mercury. A semi-square is an aspect where you're trying to take action, but there's a lot of friction. It's kind of like if you were trying to throw a punch, but you have, like straps, like elastic straps holding you, so you're trying to force it forward. Or it's that, what I've often said, it's like dragging a metal box over a metal floor. It just makes this horrible squeaking sound because there's so much friction going on. There's sparks and all of that. So there's something you need to do in your business and you're resisting it. And you know you need to do it and it's coming. And when you do it, things are going to be so much better, but you're resisting. So find either a way to make less friction or just take the friction and say, okay, I'm just going to do it anyway. Now, when it comes to money from your career, so that would be like a paycheck, the friction, the semi-square friction, is located in the daily routine and work that you're doing. And Mercury is at 0 degrees of Aries. So if you said to your boss, hey, I'd really like a raise, your boss is going to say, you know what I would really like is you to do this whole new set of things. So there is some big change in your daily routine at work that says, you've got a new computer system or new people to train, or you have a new job entirely. So asking for a raise right now could be difficult because of this. Or it's the perfect time because you're saying, yes, I will go do these new things, but I need more money. Okay, Sagittarius, the oncoming storm that is going to be happening starting in late March is connected to your love life, your friendships, the communities that you operate in. It can also be how you interact with your kids, or if you're thinking about expanding the family, how you do your creative projects, what you're putting out into the world, and what brings you joy in your life. And I know that's a lot of different things. We are going to talk about the oncoming storm in a lot of detail in upcoming videos. But that's basically the focus. And if one of those things already rings a bell, if you're already thinking, yes, I really want to change in that area, that's probably where it's going to happen. Now, where you are doing this new moon is in your area of home and family. And so one of the things that we can do when the storm is on the horizon is we shore up the house so that when the storm comes, we're all safe and snug inside. So, and what that could mean is, taking care of making sure that the house payment is covered and that house repairs are done. But more importantly, that we are getting along with the people inside the house, that we are doing well and getting support and supporting each other. So this can also be that we have the house set up in a way that supports our goals. And, I do feng shui, and there are some feng shui videos on the channel. But people think of feng shui sometimes as, that things have to be perfect, or, it's like a little cat that waves at you. But what feng shui really is setting up your environment to support your goals. So that is, if you wanted to watch less TV, then the TV shouldn't be the biggest thing in the room. Or if you want to eat less sugar, you then put the cookies in the highest shelf in the kitchen, way in the back, and put a little sign on there that says there might be spiders or something like that. That'll stop you from then reaching back there and getting those cookies. So this is creating a foundation that supports your goals, and in that you prepare for the changes that are coming. Now, when it comes to love relationships, specifically new love, Mars is not making an aspect with Jupiter. You have so much now below the horizon, it is hard for you to be seen. So if you are out there in the world, you're going to have to go to the center of the room, wear bright colors, say something. You're just too hidden right now. Now, but you do have some energy here because Mercury's at 0 degrees of Aries sitting in that house. And so that indicates meeting somebody brand new, like they're so different than you've ever met before, and that could be an interesting love relationship. But again, it's hard for you to meet someone because you don't seem to be out there where the people are. Now, when it comes to existing love relationships, Mercury is making a semi-square to Jupiter. A semi-square is an irritating aspect that has the aspects of a square, so action must be taken, but there's a lot of friction involved. And friction creates sparks, and it creates hesitation, and it means more effort. And so there's some problem that needs to be solved either as by the two of you as a united front, or you are going head to head against each other. And there's a lot of friction about solving this problem. And you have to either find a way to reduce the friction, or you just have to grin and bear it. But if you do, you can really strengthen the relationship. So recognize there could be some points of contention this time, and you want to find a way to have less friction. And, a lot of that is just starting with empathy, what their situation is and how they must feel about it. And when you do, that reduces the friction. Now, when it comes to your money, you're pulling money from that Saturn right at the base of your chart, and Saturn's not doing much in this chart. Jupiter is past it, Mars is past it. Mars is going to be around to give it a burst of energy in a few weeks, but right now, it's just sitting there. And what this reminds me of is that part of the business where you just have to keep pushing forward, where you're not necessarily getting a lot of outside reassurance or evidence that things are going in the right direction, and you just have to push through. This is the boring part. This is the repetitive part. This is the part where you're practicing, you're honing skills, and you're not yet seeing the results. And so, like from the sports person, the football player or the ice skater or somebody like that, this is just getting out on the field or on the ice day after day after day and doing the same drills over and over and over. And then suddenly you're the success. And that's the point you're doing right now. Now, when it comes to money from business or from investments, the moon's not making an aspect with Saturn. They are in the same sign, so there is a little bit of harmony, but the energy still is, just grind it out, just keep working it, keep working the problem, keep, looking for adjustments that you can make, test and retest, practice and practice some more. That's the way towards money. And then when it comes to money derived from career, so that would be like a paycheck, Venus is not making an aspect with Saturn. So again, it's basically says the same, just keep working. And it's likely you're heading the right direction because we don't have, it's the Mercury that's at the 0 point, and Mercury is not ruling a money house. So it's likely you're going in the right direction. Saturn, picks a very tall mountain for people to climb. And so tall mountains take a while. And so it is just keep pushing. You're heading in the right direction. Okay, Capricorn, the oncoming storm is going to be hitting in your areas of career as well as home and family. And so that's where we're expecting the changes. That could mean job change. It could mean that you are changing positions, that your boss is going to be new, or something's going on differently at home. And so that could be moving, doing house renovations, somebody moving in, somebody moving out, changes in the size of the family, or changes that just deal with the extended family. And then this new moon, which is supporting you in the process of all this change, is in your area of thinking and ideas and how you talk to yourself. And so this is very much about the things that you're saying to yourself in getting ready for the changes that are coming. When I do the list of, like this could be your career or this could be home, like if something it goes ding, I bet it's that is probably it. Like the universe doesn't surprise us with these things. We have this idea that something should change. We're actually telling the universe something should change. And then the universe goes, okay. and brings a change, and then we're going to go, why? No, don't do that. Instead say, I see what it is, I know what needs to change, and so I'm going to lean in. Now, the interesting thing when you get this help in the thinking process is that it's your thoughts that are creating your reality. It is, there's nothing in the world that exists that wasn't first a thought somewhere. And so I guess that would be just objects, because that wasn't a perfect analogy. So, but anyway, I wanted to get to this point where I had recently found this list from Louise Hay on how to love yourself. And the first two line items on this list I thought were really important for you during this time. And number one was don't criticize yourself. That if you can just stop for the next 2 weeks criticizing yourself, just don't criticize yourself. And number two is don't scare yourself. And that is don't take in a lot of stuff that's just scary. So, and I hope that I'm not scaring you with this storm. You've been through storms before. You've been through much bigger storms. This is just a storm. And storms just mean that, we grip the wheel and we may need to make some adjustments here or there, but that's it. That's, it's just about paying attention. So don't criticize yourself, don't scare yourself for 2 weeks, and then things in your life will be phenomenally better. Now, when it comes to love relationships, specifically new love, Venus is not making an aspect with Saturn. Everything's below the horizon. You're not very visible at this time. So it's not so, it's difficult to meet someone, because even when you go to the party, I don't know, you're blending in too much, or people are not seeing that you're looking for a relationship, or you're not talking to the people who are looking for a relationship. Now, when it comes to existing love relationships, the moon's not making an aspect with Saturn, but they are both in the same sign. They're both in the house of communication. So it's really, there's opportunities here for you to communicate better and to connect. So it's just not forced. It's just not, you don't have to. And so, when you do communicate with each other, you're going to be like, wow, that was a great conversation. But it's not something where you can sit down and say, let's hash this out. Now, when it comes to your money, you're pulling money from Uranus, which is about change and taking some risks, as well as the Saturn, which is sitting in your house of ideas and contracts and communication, etc. And I think that there's a focus on both of those, but right now, I think focusing on the Saturn, because it's in Pisces and this new moon is in Pisces, is what's important. And the Saturn says to write out your ideas, start to organize things, get the paperwork in order, do the applications, finish the website, do all of those paperwork, communication things, work on your sales pitch, work on, how you're going to do your pitch deck for your funding round, all of these types of things that are involved in communication and how you present your ideas. That's what to work on right now. Now, when it comes to money from business or from investments, the sun's making a sextile to Uranus, and that is like the only good aspect. You're one of the few who have a good aspect, and it's one of the few good aspects of this whole new moon. So you have a real opportunity to make more money over this next 2 weeks. With sextile, you have to take action, and then the things happen, but you are in line to make more money over this next 2 weeks. Now, when it comes to money from your career, so that would be like a paycheck, Mars is making an exact square, almost exact square, to Uranus. And that means that it is extremely strong energy for getting more money from your career. That is negotiating for a higher salary if you're looking for a job, or you have an opportunity to get more money in your job because maybe they are doing some layoffs, but that means they need you all the more, or that new positions are opening up and so you could slide into that position and that pays more money. So you have a very strong ability right now to get more money from your job. Okay, Aquarius, the oncoming storm, the one that's coming in a few weeks, is really focused for you around thinking process, also around what's going on in your neighborhood, what's happening with your siblings, how you are doing activities. Are you procrastinating? Are you doing too much? Are you overdoing? As well as things that deal with education, legal matters, and legal matters could be beyond a lawsuit, things like contracts or getting certified or getting some sort of permits, doing a test that's required for your profession. And so that's where we can see potential changes happening. Now, this new moon is sitting in your house of money and the possessions and how you handle your money, also how you feel about yourself. Do you have a sense of deserving? So where the new moon is getting you ready for the storm is your financial house in order? Are there other sources of income to look at? Or what's going on with your spending? How are you keeping track of it? And is your sense of deserving, does that need to be aligned with what you want to attract more wealth? How can you shift your sense of deserving so that you can attract more of what it is that you really want? Now, when it comes to love relationships, specifically new love, Mercury is not making an aspect with Uranus, nor is it making an aspect with Saturn. Additionally, everything's below the horizon, which means that you're not visible out in the world. You're working so much that you're not getting out, you're at home so much so you're not seen. Even when you go to the party, you're not the person that everybody's looking at until you say, hello, here I am. And that's possible. You can do that, but it may not be your inclination at this time. So right now, because it looks like love relationships are something where you're more working on yourself and getting ready for the love relationship, it's harder to meet people right now. That's going to change probably in the near future because we're going to move into some higher energy stuff when we do this storm. So then things get stirred up and it's easier to meet someone. Now, when it comes to existing love relationships, it's an entirely different story because the sun's making a sextile to Venus, which is the only good aspect people have been getting in this whole video that I've done. You are one of the few who have it, and you have it in the area of relationships, and that means you have an opportunity to connect with someone, connect with your partner in a new and unique way that just is delightful and fun. And so that might be something that you're doing behind closed doors, or it may be a new activity you're doing together, but you can really come together and enjoy each other. Now, when it comes to your money, you're pulling money from Neptune, that's still in your house of money, as well as the Jupiter. And Jupiter is now past that sextile to Saturn. It almost, to me, feels like as Jupiter approaches Uranus, that the constraints are off, the limitations are falling away. It's time to think bigger and to think about going in different directions. That this is a time where this Jupiter is going to be so active and activated as it gets closer and closer to Uranus, which means that one person you meet could introduce you to the person who opens up everything, or one email, one phone call, one text is a game changer for you. So you're very, very close, and what's necessary right now is to just make sure that that infrastructure is in place to accept these money opportunities, and that's why you have the new moon there. So lighting up this house to say, if somebody wants to buy from me, is there a way to accept their payment? Can they find me? What am I offering? Honing the pitch and all of that. So that sort of work done now means that you have big opportunities, and they're coming as soon as April. Now, when it comes to money derived from career, so that's like a paycheck, Jupiter's making a semi-square to Neptune. A semi-square it has the energy of a square, which means you have to take action. Something is necessary, that something has to be done. But it's a semi-square, and a semi-square means that there is a lot of friction or irritation in the process. And so it's it's possible even as you approach your boss, one, you don't want to approach them about the raise and they don't want to hear about it. But if you do it, then the raise happens. And so if you can just get the boss to transfer that irritation away from you and to give it to someone else, like them being an advocate for you and going to their boss and saying, I'm going to irritate you by this, but this person really needs a raise because they've worked so hard, they've done so much for us. And so if you can just shift them to be your advocate, then you could do really well with this aspect. So Jupiter's a fairly slow-moving body, and so you are going to get a better aspect coming up later this year, actually in just a couple of months. So if you want to wait for that, you can. Otherwise, you're going to be doing this semi-square energy for a little while longer, and so you can go in, but I know it's going to feel like it's kind of hard to do. You're going to feel hesitant about doing it. It's a higher hurdle right now, but you can clear it. Okay, Pisces, the oncoming storm, the one that's coming, is going to be hitting your areas of finance, resources from others, investments, also things about possessions, how you spend money, how you think you deserve money, etc. There's a great deal of focus in that area, and this means that there could be changes in your income, and that might mean a job change. It could mean that you are launching new products, and so you're getting more sources of money, but maybe you have to buy equipment or you're putting it out for employees. And so there are shifts in cash flow, there's shifts in revenue, there's shifts in your money. And this is like with eclipses, the storm is visible from a distance. So you probably already know what the things are that you'd like to change. So along comes this new moon, which is in your own sign of Pisces, which begins your lunar year, which means that you are planting seeds now, not just for what happens in April, but what happens for the rest of the 12 months of your lunar year. But additionally, it's in this area where you become more noticeable, which means you could meet the people who could help you with financial things. So a financial planner, a good salesperson, or someone to teach you how to market your business or market yourself in the business world. This is also about finding and securing relationships, friendships, partnerships, collaborations. And so that's also what you're planting seeds for during this new moon. And so over the next 2 weeks, meeting new people, networking, you could find and meet people, and maybe nothing gets established for a few weeks or even months, but once you've planted the seed, if you nurture that seed, then something can happen down the road. Now, when it comes to love relationships, specifically new love, even though the moon's not making an aspect to Neptune, it is making an aspect to the co-ruler Jupiter. It's a trine. I have not been able to say the word trine for this whole video. This is a very fortunate aspect. You're the only one who has it. This is an opportunity to meet someone and make a really strong connection. You've got Venus and Mars that will be entering Pisces very soon. Like, this is some really good energy. So you do want to get out there, meet new people, try to meet as many people as you can over the next 2 weeks. Just go to coffee, get on the phone with them, meet them, at a theater or something. Like, do something where you can meet people, because this is such good energy right now. And then when it comes to existing love relationships, Mercury is making a semi-sextile to Neptune. And that means that the two of you are okay in general, but there's a little rock in your shoe. There's a little issue. And if you can talk it out right now, you could solve that issue and clear up something that could be major in the future. So if there's something that's bothering you, or if you notice that your partner has something bothering them, bring it up, have the discussion, because you can get it cleared. You can get the rock out of the shoe, and then you're not limping your way to the campground. Now, when it comes to your money, you're pulling money from that Mars, which just finished that square to Uranus. So like new ideas and changes and all of that have already happened. Now you're doing that semi-sextile to this new moon. And this is more about going within and asking yourself, how do you feel about your money situation? Are you doing things that are contributing to the issues that you have? Are you putting yourself out there spiritually to find more money? Are you doing, feng shui to help align your space? Are you doing prayer or meditation or affirmations? These things really work. This is what gives you the edge, because there's a lot of people out there who are competing for jobs or customers or clients, but they don't know the spiritual part to do. So they're just out there marketing. But if you can also do the visualization and the meditation and all of that, you are doing more than they are. And this is something that you, as a Pisces energy, can do naturally. So this is something you want to pay attention to now. Now, when it comes to money from business or from investments, Venus is not making an aspect with Mars. However, they are in the same sign. So there is some harmony here. It looks like most of the actual profits are coming outside this 2-week period, but you're doing the right things. You're on the right track. So keep doing what you're doing. It just looks like most of what you're getting comes outside this 2-week period. And then when it comes to money derived from career, so that would be like a paycheck, Mars is making a semi-sextile to Saturn. Of course, you've already heard me talk a lot about the semi-sextile, so you know what that energy is. If you approach your boss right now, they're going to ask, what kind of details do you have about what your accomplishments were, how you've contributed to the well-being of the company, what is it specifically that you're looking for. So they're going to ask you a lot of details, so just get ready for that. This energy is going to line up better in the future. You're going to have some really strong energy in the weeks and months to come, so you may want to pass on this right now and just wait, and then it will get better. And that's it. I hope you enjoyed this video. I have a number of video courses on my website. There's a link in the description. One of them is Tarot Reading the Natural Way. And it is, I know it's not astrology and you're here for astrology, but if you ever use the tarot as a tool for figuring out your own life or helping others, this is where you can actually enter into the card and have a conversation with the people in the card. You don't have to memorize a book. You don't have to, keep a lot of terms or rules in your head. You can actually just interact with those in the card to do your reading, and it's a really fun way to do tarot, and it's really accurate way to do tarot as well. And so I hope you check that out. There's a link in the description, and I'll see you in the next video.